Salah the greatest Premier League player? Well, he's certainly in the conversation. Only Alan Shearer, Harry Kane and Wayne Rooney have scored more goals. And when you add assists, only Shearer and Rooney are ahead of him. And he achieved that in far fewer games than those Salah did. Right, OK, Jamie, we're asking there, is he the greatest Premier League player? You've said no, but how close is he to the top? And just remind everyone of who was your number one.
I mean, for me, Thierry Henry, you can't get away from Thierry Henry being the greatest player I think we've ever seen in the Premier League. Look, he's in the conversation, of course. There's an argument for him to be up there in the best 11 and the top 5 Premier League players ever. I would probably put him in that. I think the names you mentioned there, Rooney. Harry Kane. Look, Harry Kane didn't win trophies. That's going to be the biggest problem for Harry Kane. But in terms of a player in the Premier League, and what he'd done on his personal accolades, he's up there. But Mo Salah, what he's produced over 9 years, his goals, his assists, it's remarkable. It's outrageous.
Well, if Henry stands out to you, let's see how Henry specifically compares to Mo Salah then, because we can show you, first of all, the goals and assists and how they stack up. We'll also go through trophies and individual awards. But in the Premier League, so Salah has had more games, more goals and more assists, all right? More games, not that many more. So that's...
Well, there's a lot more.
All in all, it's probably quite even if you put it all, average it out.
Yeah.
Straight away. That's a big one in terms of goals and assists because they were both forwards, albeit Salah isn't an out-and-out striker. All right, if we look at trophies, which is something that you said would be a negative for Harry Kane, let's see how many Salah and Henry have won. It's coming now. So, two Premier League titles each, but a Champions League for Salah, which crucially Henry didn't get. Nearly did, of course, in Barcelona, but that late goal meant he didn't. 3 FA Cups, in fairness, for Henry, but everything else is just stacked in Salah's side. 6 against 5, so again, just ahead. And what about individual awards? PFA Player of the Year, 3 for Salah to 2 of Henry, 3 each for the Football Writers Player of the Year, Premier League Golden Boot 4, and highest Ballon d'Or finish was actually Henry ahead with second. So, in fairness, when you all say he's in the conversation, I guess that just proves it, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, I mean, look, he's in the conversation. Of course he is. You can't get away from the fact both of them are greats. They're Premier League greats, Hall of Famers. Definitely in the top 5, in terms of what they've produced. For me, you've also got the eye test, right? You can give me all the stats in the world, right? But you've got the eye test. And Thierry Henry was just a better footballer than Mo Salah. He was just an incredible football player to watch, week in, week out. And I'm not saying Salah isn't. He was as well. But if you're talking about just someone where you just on the eye and you go, he was just majestic, I just don't think you can look past Thierry Henry in the Premier League. So, look, there have been other players who are probably better, more gifted in terms of natural ability than Salah, like Eden Hazard. You'd say, but he didn't want to be the best. What made Salah the best is because he wanted it. His drive, his determination, his will to win, his big moment, times that he's had at Liverpool where he would pull something out of nothing, and then when the chips are down, he'd step up. There's been talented football players in the Premier League like Eden Hazard, but Salah wanted it more. Salah wanted to be the best.
Well, we want to know what all the viewers think. You know how to get in touch, just like David has.
I don't think there's any question that Mohamed Salah is the best winger the Premier League's ever seen. Most likely the best forward the Premier League's ever seen. You talk about eras. Of course, Thierry Henry, during that era, untouchable, goals and assists. But Mohamed Salah dominated once he joined Liverpool.
Yes, OK. Best winger, I mean, you can't say Ryan Giggs there.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of wingers out there, right?
Yeah,
and it's unfair.
Well, what we're going to do, Jamie, in a moment is have a think about this while we listen to the next voice note, by the way. Think of your best ever Premier League front 3 or even 2 strikers and 2 wingers if you want to see if he gets into it. Because Mark disagrees with that last voice note.
There is no question, there is no doubt. King Henry is by far the greatest player the Premier League has ever seen. Salah, Ronaldo, fantastic players. But Thierry Henry was an absolute magician. What a player.
I thought it was going to be a poem at first. There is no question, there is no doubt, but then the rhyming stopped soon after. So, OK, so differing views, that's what we want from the viewers. But in terms of your all-time Premier League 11, OK, when I always pick mine, by the way, it's players who are no longer in the Premier League. They've got to qualify. So now I've got to start thinking about whether Salah gets into it.
OK.
OK, what's your front three stroke four? You can have 2 wingers and 2 strikers.
Look, I would put Ronaldo right wing, because I played against Ronaldo when he played. People say he can play on the left. Yeah, and he does, and he did. I played against Ronaldo at Old Trafford. I played against him at Wembley, and I'd never seen anything like it. I genuinely never seen it. I just couldn't believe how good the guy was. He had everything. It was ridiculous what he'd done with a football. So for me, Ronaldo was he is the greatest right winger I've seen. And then Thierry Henry, obviously, you'd put up front. And if you're looking for a left winger, he can't get away from Ryan Giggs. You know that. If you want to add another one, you could argue Shearer, Rooney. I would go Rooney as a number 10. I'd go Thierry Henry. I'd go Ronaldo, and I would go Ryan Giggs. That would be my. Salah would be the one that would. If one of them got injured, Salah's in.
It's actually a really quite a fun debate to have, isn't it?
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
we'd like the viewers to have your debate about that. Your front 3/4 in the Premier League kind of.
What I would say, Tom,
11.
though, can I say this? That Salah is the modern day great. He is the modern day. If you're a player now, we talk about Giggs and we talk about them, but Thierry Henry from back then and players from back then. The game now has changed. It is about inside forwards. You're a striker, but you're playing on the wing. And for me, Mo Salah, if you're a young footballer or you're a mid-20s football player, anyone who's come into the Premier League, he is the benchmark. He is the benchmark of the modern day football player. Can you produce what Salah produced? That's the benchmark, because we look at with goals and Shearer's record and everyone trying to get that. But if you're a winger, Salah's the benchmark. He is, because he changed the way wingers played. That for me puts him on the pedestal, which really and truly, no one wants to try and be like Ryan Giggs, because you can't be that player anymore. That player doesn't exist. The players that exist in the Premier League now, or you want to try and be like, is Mo Salah.
All right, well, next we're going to be turning our attention. 9 years, one of the greatest careers in Liverpool history will be coming to an end after Mo Salah announced he's leaving the club at the end of the season. Loads to digest over the next half an hour as we discuss the timing and where Liverpool go from here. And, of course, his legacy in England. Is he the greatest to play in the Premier League? Well, he's conjured many special moments during his time at Liverpool as he helped the club to multiple major honours, as well as smashing a number of records.
Salah! Astonishing! Salah. He's done it again. Mo Salah. Still Salah. Oh! Take your hat off to Mo Salah. Sunshine and champagne to crown the moment, the king.
Unfortunately, the day has come. This is the first part of my farewell. I will be leaving Liverpool at the end of this season. I wanted to start by saying that I never imagined how deeply this club, this city, these people would become part of my life. Liverpool is not just a football club. It's a passion, it's a history, it's a spirit I can't explain in a word to anyone not part of this club. We celebrated victory, we won the most important trophies, and we fought together through the hardest time in our life. I want to thank everyone who was part of this club throughout my time here, especially the teammates, past and present, and to the fans. I don't have enough words. The support you showed me through the best time of my career, and you stood by me in the toughest time, is something I will never forget.
Right, good morning to Jamie O'Hara. Right, Salah's exit from Liverpool, does it suit the player and the club?
No, it suits Salah because he gets to choose where he can go next. He'll have all options available. Where he goes is going to determine why that deal was made. I just don't see how I don't see how it benefits Liverpool. The only way I can look at it benefiting Liverpool is that they think that they want him off the wage bill and it's 400 grand a week. But look, Saudi come in for Mo Salah. They'd pay 40-50 million pound for him. That would be my argument. So he signed a 2-year contract. All right, he's fell off a cliff this season, but the whole team has. Arne Slot's got a massive thing to say about the situation that they find themselves in and why Mo Salah's dropped off as well. I just think when you sign a 2-year contract, I just think there's residual value. The reason he signed a 2-year deal was they couldn't let him go. They let Trent leave on a free, and Salah, they couldn't let another superstar leave. So they gave him a 2-year deal, gave him what he wanted, but they also gave him the option that come the end of the first year, he had residual value that they could sell him. And to say that he can go on a free, I don't think that's a great deal. 30-40 million pound is still 30-40 million pound. And, Al Nassr or Al Hilal or whoever he wants to go to in Saudi, where I think he's going to end up, they would have paid that. So you've lost out on 40 million quid.
So Liverpool should have dug their heels in to get...
well, it's not about digging your heels in.
You think they could have got a fee? Would they have been able to get a fee from anyone other than Saudi? Given his wages.
Well,
Saudi have got more money than everyone else. We know that.
Yeah, it's his wages that are obviously the problem. If you're going to go to Juventus or, Napoli or someone like that, they can't afford 400 grand a week. So, but I still think he's going to demand that. I still think he's going to... That's why I believe that he's going to end up in Saudi, because I think he'll probably become one of the highest paid players in the world, alongside Ronaldo and Messi. I think he's going to end up in Saudi on £1 million a week. That's where I think he's going to end up.
They can afford £1 million a week. They could have afforded to pay a transfer fee.
Well, a year ago, they would have paid 70-80 million pounds for Salah to have him then. But Liverpool were like, no, we need to make this deal happen. They couldn't afford for another superstar to go. Too many superstars to get into the last years of their contract. Trent left. Van Dijk, they managed to get that one done. And Salah, they couldn't let him go. So they gave him what he wanted. And now they're letting him go for a free. Mo Salah. I know he's had a poor season, but he's still a top player.
How do they replace him? And even
can't replace him.
Who with?
You can't replace him. He's a generational talent. You can't replace him. It's like when Harry Kane left Spurs. You can't replace him. You can bring in anyone. They ain't going to replace Salah. His numbers over the last 9 seasons are just absolutely ridiculous. His stats are just outrageous. You can get someone in to try and fill the void, but it's not going to be Mo Salah. Like there isn't one out there. There isn't that player out there. So, you've got to build another player. You've got to build a different way. You've got to build a team. You've got Florian Wirtz. You've brought in Isak. You've got to build a team to take over what Mo Salah has done. Because pretty much Mo Salah single-handedly won Liverpool titles, and the way he played and what he'd done for that club. So he's an irreplaceable.
They're going to need... he plays right wing. They need 2 right wingers, aren't they? Because they didn't have an understudy for him this season.
Well, they've ended up playing
2, aren't they?
Well, they've ended up playing Frimpong there, who, is
He's
shown...
supposed to be a right back.
Well, he's a right back, but in England, he's got found out a little bit of right back. But he's quick, he's pacey, he can put balls in a box. He's a different type of player to Salah. If you're going to get a Mo Salah, you need an inside forward who cuts in and makes things happen, drives through midfield, is talented. Where's that player? The only player I could think in my mind who could get anywhere, no one's going to get near Salah's numbers, but can be the kind of level that Mo Salah is Esteval at Chelsea. He's the only one I'd say there's a potential there for someone like a Mo Salah in a player like Esteval. But apart from that, where do you find that player?
Short term, Bowen and Harry Wilson for free. Bowen's not free. Harry Wilson for free and Bowen as well, just to make sure that they don't have to get a youngster who's going to take 3 years to get as good as him.
Listen, Jared Bowen and Harry Wilson
they go straight in.
No, they're really good players. And that's not taking anything away from them. They ain't Mo Salah. Come on.
But if he's
what we're talking about.
You said you can't get another Mo Salah, and I completely understand that. But if you're going to get someone to hit the ground running straight away, they're going to need 2 right wingers. Harry Wilson used to play for Liverpool. He's available free at the end of the season, unless he signs a new contract. And you've got Jared Bowen as well, who plays in that position.
Listen, I like Harry Wilson. I think he's a really good player and he's had a great season. I don't know, Liverpool, you've got to find someone to replace Mo Salah, who's Jared Bowen, maybe. But, you know, it's not like Jared Bowen's a young kid. It's not like Harry Wilson's a young kid.
That's why I'm thinking that Bowen might not cost that much.
I mean,
I'm only throwing names here.
No.
Viewers, by the way, at home, please throw us some names, because that's just two of mine.
He's irreplaceable. He's irreplaceable. Tom, you can't find another Mo Salah. Look what he does on the football pitch. That player doesn't exist right now. That player doesn't exist. He's the end of an era. He's the end of an era for Liverpool. He's an end of an era for, in my opinion, some Premier League, the way Premier League players are playing. He's the end of an era. That rock and roll football, that style, that electric pace, the way he gets at players, the way he makes things happen, the DNA that Liverpool instilled over 5-6 seasons with Jurgen Klopp. He was everything that they did. And Liverpool, that's gone. That DNA that they built, that identity that Liverpool have had, in my opinion, they've gone away from it. I don't know why they've gone away from it, but they've gone away from it. And they've gone to a slow, possession-based build-up. And he's the end of an era at Liverpool. And they're going to miss him. They are going to miss him.
We're going to be speaking to a Liverpool fan very shortly, but first, here's how we get involved in the Finalysis app. Scan the QR code here on the right of the screen for more details, and you will have all of this at your fingertips. So Liverpool fan Conor Ray joins us. Conor, what was your initial reaction to the news that he's going?
Devastated. Jamie said it quite rightly there. It's the end of an era for Liverpool, and he's one of the best players to ever play for the club. So you lose a player like that, and what else can you feel except for devastated? I'd just come out of work when I saw the headline last night, and it topped off a pretty rubbish day. I think it's nice to have a little bit like with the Klopp announcement. I suppose it's nice to have an amount of games remaining that you can enjoy him and watch him and really soak in those last moments. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely devastated. He's one of the best players to ever play for the club.
Are you surprised that you're letting him go on a free?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's for me, I wonder how much of it's a little bit of a nostalgia or, doing a service to the man. If he wants to go in the summer and the only way they can negotiate that is to get him out on a free and that therefore they can guarantee he goes, then I think, look, as a club, we owe him massively for what he's done over the years. Does it suit the club? No, I don't think so. I don't think he should be going at all. I think he's still got a job to play. And as you've just said, Jamie, I think he's absolutely irreplaceable. One bad season doesn't negate that.
Sorry, Tom.
Carry on.
You say you owe him. Right, and his loyalty to the club. I get all that, but this is Liverpool's a business.
Yeah,
you allowed Trent to go on a free, right? Which was
they ended up getting 10 million, didn't they?
Well, okay,
yeah. I see what you mean.
10 million, nothing, right? Could have got 100 million for him. Now Salah on a free, and we talk about being loyal to the man, and he deserves to be able to leave if he wants to leave. Well, you also gave him the platform. You are Liverpool Football Club. Liverpool Football Club's bigger than Mo Salah. Right? You gave him the platform to shine. You gave him the platform to be the best player he could be. He went to Chelsea, it didn't happen for him. Liverpool gave him that platform. Jurgen Klopp gave him the platform. So it works both ways, I think. It works both ways. It's not all about Mo Salah. I think Liverpool, I don't know, I'm surprised that you go, no, we'll let him go for nothing. We'll let him go. What?
There's a couple of bits to that I think are probably, you're right, and I was surprised to see it be for free as well. I think there's probably a couple of bits to it, right? Like you alluded before to, are any other European team likely to pay the fee and his wages? And I think that's probably unlikely. If he doesn't have a guarantee from the Saudi league that he's going there, then he may well be looking elsewhere. Then trying to shift him for a fee and wages means you can't really announce that he's leaving until you know where he's going, or similar. So it kind of puts the dampeners on potentially on the end of his Liverpool career as well. We've seen in the last few years that Saudi teams have stopped paying quite so much money for players. Whether they're now willing to fork out 30-40 million on him might have been part of the conversation. I don't imagine the club have made the decision to let him go on a free without having had those conversations and without Salah and his agent having had those conversations. So I'm sure the way it's come about, whilst it is strange, and I totally agree it's strange, I'm sure it's come about from kind of what's the best for all parties.
You're right when everyone is saying that he's irreplaceable. I understand that, right? But you do have to try to replace him. And I maintain that you need two right-wingers this summer. What names can you throw into it? I said Bowen and Wilson. Someone messaged with Kvaratskhelia. At the bottom of the screen there, you've got Michael Olise as well coming in. A lot of them are going to be very expensive, but you are going to have to try to replace him.
Yeah, I mean, we have to try, but I've got to go on record and say you can't. It'd be impossible to replace him. You can bring someone in to play in that position, and they can put up similar, they can put in similar levels of performance game by game, but they're never ever going to hit the heights that Salah did. They're never going to replicate what Salah's done. Elise is a good shout. Kvaratskhelia is a great shout. Lamine Yamal, you're never going to get him away from
You've just
Barcelona,
named two players who are playing for two of the biggest clubs in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and they're not going to sell him.
Liverpool are a big club, and Liverpool have got money. There's someone there saying, in terms of replacing him, it's a bit different. This one saying that Isak will replace his goals when he's fit again, but Isak isn't going to play right wing, is he? I mean, there are players out there, good players. It just means that Liverpool will have to pay top dollar, and they're losing a top player for free.
I think it's more likely we'll see a change of system, if I'm honest. I think we've already seen, like, you look at the Galatasaray game last week and how Salah played more centrally and up top with Ekitike as well. I think that's probably the plan moving forward, is for Isak and Ekitike to do that. And then, hopefully you see Isak and Eki replicate those goals with Szoboszlai and Wirtz in a more attacking role behind them with no wingers. But I mean, I'll come back to again, is it right time for the club? And for me, no, because when Salah played centrally alongside Ekitike and Isak, he was just as lethal and has proven this season when the rare occasions he has played more centrally, all the best players in the world do move more central and later in their career.
Are you worried about where Liverpool are going though? Because it is end of an era. It is the end of, like these blockbuster players in terms of, Diaz and, Salah. Firmino, that these kind of the rock and roll. We always say the rock and roll player. Are you worried about where the identity is going to go with Liverpool now? That type of player, who are they going to sign? Because look, you sign the Wirtz and you've got these players who now it's pass and move. But you played high intensity, football, and now I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, look, you only have to look at results this season, and yes, I'm worried about Liverpool. I'm wholly unconvinced that Slot is able to turn it around for us. I think there's an argument to say he should have gone a long time ago. And I think if results keep going and trending the way that they are between now and the end of the season, I can't see him being here next season. And if that's the case, then you're then trying to reshape another system and another way of playing for a new manager, as you say, Jamie, and then trying to replace players that are irreplaceable. We saw the same thing happen when Rodgers left with Gerrard as well. It's kind of the new system. Gerrard was fading out of that system and left kind of not under a cloud, obviously, but the results at the end of Gerrard's time at the club were not good enough, and he left to move on to go to the MLS. And 3 months later, Klopp came in, and what Klopp would have given to have a Gerrard in the dressing room when he came in. Like, I just hope the same thing doesn't happen here.
Is Salah your greatest player in Premier League history?
I think he's in the top 2 or 3 debate. Yeah, when I'm going through it, I can only really think of Henry that you can compare to what he's achieved, the numbers comparable to appearances and what he's won.
I was actually just meaning at Liverpool. So go on, in the whole of the Premier League, you've got him, Henry, and who's the other one? You said 2 or 3.
Who's the third? That's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, everybody goes to Ronaldo, but I don't think Ronaldo's Premier League legacy is as good as others. I think he did most of his achievements in Spain, didn't he? So
he won 3 Premier League titles.
Well, yeah,
and a Ballon d'Or and a Champions League.
Well, then put Ronaldo in. Put Ronaldo in. But I'm still saying Salah's legacy in the Prem is better than Ronaldo's. And for Liverpool, he's the second best Premier League player, third of all time for me.
Say that again, sorry. Second best in the Premier League for Liverpool?
Yeah, behind Steven Gerrard.
So why is Gerrard not the best in Premier League history?
Oh, no, Steven Gerrard would go into the midfield in that all-time Prem 11. Don't worry.
Yeah, OK. Fair enough.
For me personally, I'd put Ronaldo. I just think Ronaldo is a better. I get the longevity and I get over 9 seasons of him being in the Premier League, Salah. And his numbers are just unbelievable. I get all that.
Yeah.
But if I'm picking a right winger in the Premier League, in an all-time Premier League 11, I'm picking Ronaldo. Right,
we're going to get much more into his legacy a little bit later on in the show. But what was your favourite Salah moment so far, Connor?
I mean, You played it just before I came on there. I think in being the first visiting player to score a hat trick at Old Trafford, that's a thorn in the side that they'll have for a while.
Yeah.
But then I also felt my favourite recently was the team last season. The image of him wearing the crown off the Premier League trophy just kind of capped what Liverpool fans have been saying about him for years. Right, he's the Egyptian king, and he's absolutely proven that in his time here.
Is he going to get one, maybe two more trophies between now and the time he leaves?
Let's hope so. I saw what Jamie Carragher said yesterday about, forget his Anfield farewell, the ultimate farewells in Budapest, and I'm very, very much hoping that that's the case, however unlikely it feels at the moment.
Yeah, PSG in the Champions League, and you are still in the FA Cup as well, albeit away at Manchester City in a couple of weeks' time. Connor, thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.